This event happened over 6 years ago, and I still have not fully recovered psychologically. At the time, John, was 31, and my girlfriend Lisa was 29, and we had been in a loving monogamous relationship for 3 years, or so I thought. We met at a cocktail reception that was held at a local art museum. Neither of us liked modern art, but attended the reception with friends, and we really hit it off. We started casually dating and soon became exclusive as we really clicked. About a year into our relationship, Lisa asked if we could move in together as she really wanted to take the next step with me. I told her I wasn't ready to take that step, so we stayed living apart, but saw each other at least 6 nights per week, and our love grew deeper. Throughout the next year, she continued to coax me to take the next step, so reluctantly, I did so on our 2nd anniversary, and we moved in together. Everything was going great, and even though we had now been together over 2 years, we were very active and adventurous in the bedroom. With things going well, Lisa started dropping hints about getting married and starting a family. I told her, potentially, I saw that with her, but I wanted us to use the time living together to see if we were ready to take that next step. About 3 months into our cohabitating, I got a big surprise. Lisa called me at work to say that she missed her period and she may be pregnant. This was a surprise since she was on the pill. She swore that she never missed the dose, so I chalked it up that we may be one of those couples in the 9% failure rate for the contraceptive. After I hung up with Lisa, I experienced a range of emotions from fear to excitement. The more I thought about it though, I became overjoyed about the prospect of being a father. Driving home that night, I was on cloud 9, and when I got home, I hugged and kissed Lisa and told her how excited I was that I was going to be a dad, and she was happy to hear it. As the weeks went on, Lisa started asking when we might get married. I told her that I was not ready for that now, but it was definitely something we could consider after the birth of our child. She understood, but kept bringing up the subject several times a week, saying how much she wanted to be my wife and spend the rest of her life with me. We spent the next few months prepping for our child and converting our spare bedroom into a state-of-the-art nursery. I spared no expense on the furniture and fixtures, and we were ready for our first child. Things were going so well for us that at the end of Lisa's 7th month, I got down on one knee and asked her to marry me. She cried and yelled, "Yes, yes, yes, I will marry you, John." We were so happy. I told Lisa we can get married at the mayor's office next month, and then have a reception after our baby's birth, and she agreed. We had a day scheduled for our wedding, but a few days before the big day, the baby had other plans, and Lisa went into labor. We rushed to the hospital at 4 a.m., and by 8 a.m., Lisa had given birth to a healthy baby boy. I was in the delivery room with her and helped deliver the child. The birth went relatively smoothly. As soon as I saw the baby, I could tell immediately he was not mine. The baby had jet black hair, a deep brown complexion, and appeared to be of Hispanic descent. Both Lisa and I and our extended families are Northern European with light hair and fair skin tones. No one in either of our families are of Hispanic heritage. When the baby was placed in Lisa's arms, I looked at her face, and though she acted as if nothing was wrong, I could tell she was shocked at seeing the baby's features. My heart was beating 200 beats per minute, but I held it together and acted as if nothing was up. Lisa wanted me to hold the baby, which I did, and tears started rolling down my cheeks. I held the little guy and was unbelievably sad that he was not mine. But I kept it together and handed him back to Lisa and told her I was going to go out and talk to her parents and my mom and let them know the good news. I went out to the waiting room and broke the news. They proceeded in to see Lisa and the baby, and I told them I need to go for a little walk to settle down after all the excitement. I walked over to a little park area near a stream that runs through the hospital grounds and completely broke down crying. My world had been destroyed. I knew today I would lose both my future wife and the baby I had so much wanted. Time flew by as I cried my eyes out, and after about 30 minutes my phone rang, and it was my mother. She asked if I was all right, and I said I think so. And she said, "Son, I know why you left." I said, "Mom, the baby is not mine." She said, "Son, I know, and I will support you through this whatever you decide." With that, I composed myself, went to the restroom, washed my face, and headed back into the room. When I came back into the room, it was just Lisa, her parents, and my mom. The baby had been taken to the nursery and Lisa was exhausted from the birth. I suggested we all give her time to get some well-deserved sleep. As we were walking out, Lisa asked if I could please stay with her, and I said, "Babe, it's best you get some rest without talking." We all went down to the cafeteria and hung out there for a few hours while Lisa rested. When we went back upstairs, I let her parents go into the end to see if she was up. She was, and they spent about a half hour with her. When they came out, they said she wanted me by her side, so I went in to be with her. She started talking, saying how happy she was and asked if I was happy. I told her I was happy that she and the baby were healthy. She said, "You seem distant. Is something wrong?" I said, "We need to talk." She said, "Talk about what?" I said, "The baby." She said, "What about the baby?" I replied, "Lisa, the baby is clearly not mine." She responded, "It is your baby. Who else would it be?" I told her, "You tell me." With this, she started sobbing and could not talk. She knew she couldn't lie out of this one. I let her cry for what seemed like forever, but was actually closer to 10 minutes. After she settled down, I asked, "Who is the father of the child?" She said again, "You are the father." I replied, "Lisa, please don't lie to me." She was silent, glaring straight ahead in a dazed, super-like state. She then said, "I'm so sorry, John. I was unfaithful, but I want you to be the baby's father." I ignored that statement and asked who was the father. She said 8 months ago, her ex came to town and they had a one-afternoon stand at our apartment. A little background about her and her ex. She and her ex met while working at a department store, and they were together for over 5 years, so this was a long-term ex. So after hearing this news and knowing whose baby it was, I got up, walked over to the window, and stared at the traffic below. She asked me, "Is our relationship over?" I told her that it was, as there was no way I could ever trust her again. With that, she burst into tears and asked if I could give her another chance. I told her sternly that it was not possible. I then told her that she needed to tell her parents about this now. She pleaded with me not to tell them. I told her, "Lisa, you must do so, as you will not be coming home to our apartment when you and the baby get discharged tomorrow." She again burst into tears and pleaded. I just said no and went outside to summon her parents. As we walked into the room, Lisa's father noticed she had been crying and asked what was wrong. I asked them all to take a seat, which they did. I then said, "Lisa, tell them what we just discussed." She started crying and couldn't speak. I then proceeded to explain the situation to our parents. All 3 of them, her 2 parents and my mother, started crying, with her parents crying uncontrollably. I told her parents that when she was discharged tomorrow, she would be coming home with them, and that I would arrange to have all of her personal belongings and the nursery we bought moved to their house. Throughout this conversation, Lisa was crying uncontrollably. I then looked at my mom and said, "Mom, let's go." Lisa then screamed, "John, please don't leave me. I love you. I'm sorry." I and my mother walked out the door and her parents consoled her. As we were driving from the hospital, Lisa called and said, "Please, John, don't end our relationship this way." I said, "Lisa, I didn't end our relationship. You did." I told her the trust we had is forever broken and the person I knew and loved is gone. She continued to plead, but I said nothing, eventually telling her I was going to hang up as there was nothing more to say. The next morning, her father came over with this van and we loaded off her belongings and the nursery into the back. I went with him back to their house, helped him unload, and set up the nursery in one of their spare bedrooms. I was devastated. Her mom asked if there was any way I could reconsider and give her daughter one more chance. I politely told her there was not, as I could never trust Lisa again, and would never be able to love the child that was the seed of another man. With this, her father drove me back home, where I stayed for the next day crying my eyes out. Throughout the next week, Lisa called and texted me over 100 times, professing her love and asking for another chance. She said she understood that I do not want to marry her now and be the father of her child, but was asking if we could just continue to see each other like we were dating. I never replied, and eventually the messages stopped. This has been the most difficult period in my life. While I have no interest in being part of Lisa or her son's life, I would like to meet him for a beer when he turns 21 and thank him for coming early, which saved me from marrying his mother and further complicating my life. My parting advice to every man out there is to get a pre-birth paternity test with every pregnancy. Whether it's your girlfriend or your wife, I don't care who it is. If a woman says she's pregnant by you, just say, "Okay, let's get a pre-birth paternity test." It will save you a lot of wasted time and a lot of wasted heartache. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Until next time, I'll see you again. Take care.